Hello fellow humans and musicians, welcome to my channel, welcome to this video where we'll be comparing the Midimix from AKAI against the Launchcontrol XL from NOVATION. It's two MIDI controllers that are very similar, so here we have the Midimix and the Launchcontrol, and those two controllers are MIDI controllers to control mostly volume, pan, but also all kinds of effects. Actually, you can assign anything to those buttons on the controller, so you can even modulate a synth or any presets you want to make for it, it's possible. And my use for it is live looping, so I'm recording a guitar, I'm adding a drum onto it, and then I'm using the Launchcontrol to add effects to the master and to cut the volume of certain elements and bring them back in the mix. So this is my use for it. And I will tell you why my choice is going for the Midimix rather than the Launchcontrol. Even though the Launchcontrol has some real benefits, there is a killer argument against it, which I will cover in this video. So stick till the end if you really want to know which one you should go for in your situation. Okay, so first off, the Midimix. Let's start with the little one. The Midimix from AKAI. So the encoders, so the little rotary buttons, are too small. They're too little in size, in height. They are the right size, like the right diameters, but a bit too not high enough. And the texture isn't good. It's not rubbery enough, so it doesn't stick to the fingers, and you really have to grab them with a lot of strength if you want to twist them all the way in and all the way out quickly for dub kind of effects, for adding reverbs or delay for a very short period of time. It's really not the best, but they are at reasonably big space from each other, so that's that. It's usable, it's okay, but AKAI I think could have done a better job. Yeah, but otherwise it's usable. If you're using them for a slight adjustment, for example for the pan, or for slightly adding reverb that are really in a mix situation, then it would be, I think, perfect, because they are really easy to move a little bit. You don't have, like, it's precise, but for my use it's definitely not the best. Now moving on the NOVATION, it's the knobs are far better quality and they have a little stop in the middle, so if you want to put the settings right in the middle it's much easier. They're higher, they're rubbery, they have a bigger thingy that goes up in the white parts, you will see in the video, goes a bit more out of the knob itself, so it's easier to grab. They're thinner, so they're really better. They have also a bit more resistance though, so if you want to move them really quick like I do, it's also not the best, but it's doable, it's usable. The thing though is that because of their height, sometimes I want to twist the knob and my finger gets stuck in between two knobs. So they're a bit closer to each other, or maybe not, but because they're higher then you have more chance to stuck your finger in it. And I'm a pretty skinny dude, as you can see, so it's not the best. I would really love to see a controller that combines those two models together and have a bit more space between the knobs, less resistance, and knobs like on the NOVATION one. Now moving on to the buttons, the rubbery buttons. On the AKAI they're very small, but they have a nice clicky feeling. I mean, it's still rubber, so it's not like on a push or something where you really hear this, I don't know if you can hear, but really a click. Here it's not like that, but you feel a click. So it's quite good, I like it. They're a bit small, but if you look what you're doing, you don't miss them. On the NOVATION, they're bigger for the track focus and the arm button, or the mute, it depends how you set them up, but for the button at the base of the controller, they're very large. And the clicky feeling only happens in really the middle of the button. So if you push a little bit too much on the sides here, the button doesn't feel as good. And although in the DAW itself, it always works. Like there has never been a case where I push slightly on the side of the button and it doesn't actually work in the DAW. So that's not a real problem. It doesn't feel as good as the AKAI one, unfortunately. But that's only for the bottom on the bass. The bottom on the sides are also more little, so you don't have this problem of half engage kind of thing. Now for the faders on the AKAI, the faders are really meant to be used live, I think, because there is no marks on it to show you at what high volume you are at, -6 and everything. It's just basic fader, very short, less resistance. You can use all the faders at once and the controller is not moving, even though the surface at the back of the unit that is rubbery is much less, like the NOVATION. It's the whole plate that's rubbery and supposed to stick to the table. On the Midimix it's just 4 little dots. But somehow on the Midimix I can use all the faders at once, bring them back, bring them up easily, and it doesn't move. On the NOVATION they're much more precise, but as soon as you use more than 5 faders at once, which is rare, but if you want to like bring the whole mix down and bring it back up, the unit moves and it's really annoying. So that's a drawback. But if you're using in a live mixing situation, in a mixing situation, it's quite good because the faders are more coarse. You say that in French, I'm not sure in English, but you can move them more, so you have more precision. But I never had a lack of precision with the Midimix, so I think the Midimix is still better on some level. But if you need really precise adjustments, I would go for the Launchcontrol. Now for the size, the NOVATION is slightly bigger in surface and a bit higher, but not much more. So you don't gain so much more space if you go for the Midimix only for the space that it takes. It wouldn't be on my priority list because they're really kind of the same in the end. The USB entry is on the side for the NOVATION on the left side and is on the back for the Midimix, just to adjust your setup as you want it to be on your desk. The Midimix doesn't have LEDs, only behind the rubbery buttons, so you know when the track is mute or on rec, so that's good, but there's no LEDs for the rubber rotary buttons. On the NOVATION you have those LEDs you can assign to certain colors. So you know, for example, you want to put all your reverbs in blue, all your volumes in another color, it's possible. No LEDs for the faders though, but you have for the track focus and the rec arming button. What's happening on the computer, I much prefer the way AKAI is doing their software. It's very similar, but for the Launchcontrol I had some difficulties making it work with my Ableton. The factory setting is working just fine. If you're just using it for basic purposes, I think it's fine. But some things I wanted to do with it, I didn't find a way. But I'm not an expert in MIDI controller, so I'm sure you will find a way. I'm sure they thought about it, but just so you know, it's less easy. With the Midimix, everything I want it to do, it just does it. So that's a good point, again, for AKAI. Now let's touch upon the juicy part of this video, the big problem I have with this NOVATION controller. Just so you know, it's the MK2 model, so maybe the MK1 doesn't have this problem, maybe it's just my unit that has a problem, but yeah, I will just show you right now what's going on. Okay, so here we are in front of the workstation. I have my little guitar, my little Squire with 3 single coils. And here the problem starts. So as you can hear, I have a very clean sound. I mean, not very clean, but kind of clean. And as soon as I plug in this machine, here's what happens. So as you can hear, there is this buzz that's created by the machine. It's electromagnetic perturbations. You can do the test with your mobile phone, you put it near your pickups and it makes a lot of sound. And usually it's okay, you know, like there is my push right here and it's making also some of it when I put it right next to it, you can hear. So if I put it next to the push, you can hear there is some noise, but you know, as soon as I go a bit far away, it's fine. But here, this thing, like if I put it against it, it's really, really strong. And I noticed actually that right now it's a bit less strong because I'm on the same level. So if I'm right on the same level, it's kind of okay, or if I'm a bit under. But usually I play how do you say, up, like on my feet, and not sitting. And so I'm right above it, and so it's so loud. Like even if I'm here, and I have to be close to my buttons, you know, to push everything. So it's just not usable. Usually it's like this. Now I notice with you right now that actually if you're under it, it works, but I don't know if it's very practical. So this is my experience. Yeah, if you're not using this machine with a guitar, if you don't care about the perturbation, electromagnetic perturbation it creates, then go for it. It's a good machine, very precise and everything. But for me, I will stick with the Midimix that doesn't make any noise. Even if I didn't have a guitar, to know that it makes so much radiation in the air, I don't like it so much. So here you go. It was my video on the Launchcontrol XL versus the Midimix. I hope you liked it. Leave me a little like, subscribe, share with your friends if you like, and I see you in the next video. Peace out.